Buenas noches. Good evening. It's an honor to stand here basically on the shoulders of giants, people who came before us, starting on February 17th, 1929, 90 years ago. And 90 years ago, they came forward because they said, you know what? Segregation is wrong. There shouldn't be restaurants, hotels, schools that say that because you're a Garcia or Rodriguez or Lopez or Sanchez or Moran, that you are not equal and cannot get into those facilities. And they stood up and they challenged the system. And there were consequences to challenging that system. But you know what? When Gus Garcia, who was a LULAC lawyer, challenged the state of Texas in Hernandez versus Texas, that said Latinos should be on juries so that when you have a trial, you have a jury of your peers, a lot of people thought he couldn't do it. He went to the U.S. Supreme Court, the first Latino to argue a case before the U.S. Supreme Court, and you know what? We won. And from Gus Garcia, you're gonna meet an outstanding young man named Alejandro Lopez, 18 years old, in high school in Dodge City, Kansas, okay? And when you come up, this young man offered to put his name on a lawsuit against the state of Kansas and the Attorney General, a guy named Chris Kalbach, one of the most bigoted attorney generals in the state, in the country, and challenged them and said, you know what? We shouldn't have to get out of Dodge to go vote, because they moved the polling place 2 weeks before the election outside the city limits, because Dodge City is now 62% Latino. And LULAC filed that lawsuit, and we just won, and guess what? They're putting the polling places back in Dodge City because of that. So, where are we today? LULAC is now in 42 states, and this year, we now have joined Tennessee, Alaska, Nebraska to the LULAC familia. We are now 146,000 strong throughout the country. From sea to shining sea, there are LULAC councils, and in the last 60 days, 18,000 people have joined LULAC. And if you're one of those that has not joined LULAC that's in this room, pónganse las botas, las chanclas, and sign up and join LULAC today. Mi papá me dijo que había un dicho, camarón que se duerme, se lo lleva la corriente. Necesitamos que levantar todos los camarones que tienen Sánchez, Rodríguez y López y apellidos así, all the EZs. And that's what LULAC's gonna do. We're gonna wake everybody up and let them know that we are gonna be standing here. That we see an injustice, we're gonna bring justice to that table. When we see that people are not being paid fairly, I was in Washington State, and you know that the dairy workers who work there, the ones who put the milk that's gonna be in your cream today, the ones who give the milk for Starbucks, those people were working 16 and 18-hour days with no restroom breaks, no lunch breaks, and no overtime. As a result of that, I went there to Washington State and along with the United Farm Workers. And what we decided to do is do something a little bit different. So with Dairy Gold Farmer, the dairies, we sent a letter to Starbucks. And we just got the result, and Starbucks has now told them, you better treat your farm workers right. We're gonna train you, and if you don't do it, you're not gonna do business with us. I tell you those little victories because whether it's the victory in Dodge City or whether it's a victory for the farm workers in Washington State, or whether it was, like she mentioned, here in Texas where they tried to purge 98,000 Latinos to rig the system, to cheat their way to power. And it was LULAC versus the state of Texas that we filed suit last week, and now they've backpedaled, and now the Secretary of State's confirmation has been indefinitely postponed because of his basically bigoted stuff. So, LULAC is here to agitate, to motivate, to litigate, y echarle ganas al pueblo. That's what we do. So, when we get here to this gala, let me just say real briefly, this is what LULAC does. I'll tell you a little story back in 1998, when I was a Texas State representative, I had a young lady, her name was Olivia. She was valedictorian of her class at Pinkston High School in West Dallas, which is a barrio school. Her dream was to serve her country. And she got appointed to West Point. But Olivia's family had a secret. And when Olivia arrived at West Point, the secret was that she called her mom and said, "Mom, they're asking for my birth certificate and my social security card." And mom said, "Mija, naciste en Mexico. Olivia, you were born in Mexico. You're undocumented." She didn't know that. As a result of that, Olivia was sent home. And she got home, and of course, her counselor called me and said, "What can we do to help Olivia?" So Olivia said, "Well, I want to go to Texas A&M. They have cadets." And so we got her into Texas A&M, but she had to pay 3 times the tuition as a foreign student, even though she had been in Texas and the United States all her life. As a result of that, I did file a bill called the In-State Tuition Bill, House Bill 1403, the first DREAM Act in the country, okay? And we passed it. And that's now the law in 19 states. But why I bring that up is we still have a job to finish. We have 2 million dreamers across this country who need the path to citizenship, and we want this Congress, Congressman Garcia, Congressman Lujan, Congressman Beasy, and the Senate Congress to pass a DREAM Act that finally gives them access to the American dream, and also to pass comprehensive immigration reform, because just like they said before, todos los inmigrantes, with their hands, with their blood, with their sweat, are making America the country that it is now. We want to open up the educational economic systems, give opportunities so that the young men and women who are here from Emerge, how many of you are here from the Emerge Conference? Raise your hands. These are students from California, from Texas, from Florida, New York, across the nation. And they're not the future leadership, they're the leadership today. And so we want to make sure that they don't leave college with a tuition, fees, and loans that they cannot afford to pay. So we need to open up those opportunities, and LULAC believes that we should have tuition-free colleges across this country. Now, I don't know how much these waiters, these cooks, the people who are cleaning the hotel rooms tonight make, but LULAC believes in Indian income inequality, and that means raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And I end with this. On our 90th anniversary, each one of you has an obligation and a duty to pass a torch of leadership to a new generation of Latinos and Latinas. I know that the first Latina or Latino who will be taking the oath of office in this city as President of the United States has already been born. And he or she just needs maybe a helping hand, maybe that scholarship, maybe that a job opportunity, maybe that internship. And I want each one of you to do what LULAC has been doing for 90 years and give those opportunities, porque con ganas todo se puede. Hasta la victoria. Gracias.